All right, YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to the channel for a brand new Pokemon Market update video. Today, we are looking at 9 of the top chase cards from the Scarlet and Violet era that are now dropping in price, meaning that it might be a pretty good time for you to pick them up. Now, before we jump into the cards for today, I just want to say a quick thank you to the video sponsor for this video, which is, of course, Sushi Grade. Now, we are back with Sushi Grade again. They have some brand new features, but if you want to know the basics of what they do, they have a free version of their website where you can actually check the centering of your cards if you're looking to submit them to PSA for grading or any of the other grading companies for that matter. It'll give you a breakdown of left and right, top and bottom, and also what they think the grade will score based on the centering in the free version. And then in the paid version, you get a whole bunch of other features like grading opportunities and cross grading opportunities and things like that. And it'll also tell you cards like this, which I bet you didn't know, this Gengar Sword and Shield promo goes from being a $100 raw card to being over $1,100 in a PSA 10. So if you guys want to check out Sushi Grade, they will be linked down in the description below. And if you check them out, make sure to use my code that is down there as well to get yourself a little bit of a discount if you are getting the paid version. Now, let's jump into today's cards for the video. Starting off with the Greninja EX from Twilight Masquerade. I absolutely love this artwork, and this is probably one of the best looking artworks out of all of the Scarlet Violet era. Currently down 12.48%, which is bringing it right around to $318. Now, this card recently in the last couple of months was as high as $364, so you're getting it about 50 bucks off at the moment. And it's a pretty good time, I think, to pick this up. There was a spike in purchases a couple of weeks ago, back in the end of November, but now it's kind of flatlined as to where it's sitting. And I think in the new year, it's probably going to look to increase again. So it might be a really good time to grab this one. The PSA 10s, though, are a little bit up and down, as you'll see with most of the cards on this list. 775, 721, 741, and then 875, 820, 810. So putting it right around like the high sevens, low eights, I think would be like the market value for it. Someone got an absolute steal here on an auction at 720, which I think is quite low for this card. But nonetheless, that's how auctions kind of work, right? You can always score yourself a little bit of a deal if you do well in the auction. Next up, let's look at the Bubble Mew from Paldean Fates. You guys know I absolutely adore this card as well. I had this for a long time in my PC. I sent it to grading and it came back a 9. So I did end up selling it on for some other things that I added to my inventory for shows. However, this is down 26% right now. So I'm potentially looking at picking another one of these up very, very soon. When a 26% drop is on a card like this that is super popular, super talked about, I feel like it can only go up from where it's sitting. And if you look at the PSA 10s right now, 1425, 1300. There was one that went at $1,000 US, one that went at $1,600 US, which is kind of the high of December so far. And then 1500, 1500, and then 1650 also in December. So they're kind of your high points in December is 1650. But I think the Bubble Mew is going to be one of those cards that over time, it just increases and increases because it is so highly sought after. It is a lot of people's chase cards, and Mew is always like one of those ace Pokemons that's a pretty safe bet for value. Next up is the Charizard EX from Paldean Fates, much like the Bubble Mew. Also dropped a little bit in price. It's sitting at $247 right now, which is down just under 10%, so 9.44%. If you're looking for a PSA 10 on the Charizard, much more affordable than the Bubble Mew, of course, at 618, 639, 650, 610. So pretty decent price for what is a gorgeous Charizard artwork. Honestly, I think this is probably one of the best Charizard arts that we've had in a long time, other than, of course, the new one from Phantasmal Flames, which just absolutely has my heart. But I still think this is probably the coolest one from the Scarlet Violet era. Sticking with Paldean Fates, I didn't expect to put all 3 of them in here, but I was going to show you guys nonetheless. I thought I'd throw the Gardevoir in here. Even though it's not down, I feel like with the other 2 trending down, there is a chance that the Gardevoir does drop as well. This is the, of course, it's filtered me to the lightly played option. So let's have a look. Actually, it is down. Okay, so it is down in the near mint, which is down 15.66% in the last 3 months. Again, you tend to see a little bit of a drop off and then you'll see an increase. If you pull it into the 1 year, again, it's not down on the original pricing, which was super cheap. Again, when Paldean Fates was all over the place, you could get this card quite cheap. Same as the Bubble Mew, you were able to pick that up really cheap as well. But since the massive spike back in like late August, early September, this is now starting to drop off. And I feel like it's going to level out here somewhere in the near future. So the fact that it's already dropped 15%, it might be a good time to pick this one up too. PSA 10s are sitting at 270, 256, 309. So around about the 250 to 300 mark for the Gardevoir, which to me, I think when you look at this card, it's a no-brainer. Like if you're going to spend $300 on a slab, I think this is a really good one to do it on. And then we move into the Obsidian Flames Charizard. Now, this is one of the cheaper cards on the list for today, but nonetheless, it is a really cool artwork. It's probably dropped, I think, the most on this list, if my memory serves me correctly. It's dropped 40% in the last 3 months, which to me, you know, you could see it as a sign of, well, people don't really like this card, but I just see it as a sign of people are getting a little bit of Charizard fatigue because there are a lot of them out there at the moment. But I still love this card nonetheless. Again, very similar to the Paldean Fates one, but obviously in a set where it was much easier to pull. There's a lot of things that go into the cards like this that have the cheaper price points, but this one's only 74 bucks right now. So to get yourself a raw version for 74 bucks, or to get yourself a PSA 10 for about 500, which is kind of where the ballpark of these are sitting right now, I think it's a pretty good play. But again, if I was going to spend 500 bucks on a Charizard card, I'd probably look at just spending a little bit extra and getting this for 620. But I still do like the Obsidian Flames one a lot as well. Now, Magikarp, Shinji Kanda artwork is always crazy. The new Oricorio is crazy from the Charizard UPC, but the OG, well, not the OG Shinji Kanda artwork, but the one that kind of had everyone going crazy over Shinji Kanda in the first place was the Magikarp in the Scarlet Violet era from Paldea Evolved. Now, this one is 17% down, which is at $252. There was a lot more being sold through the end of November and start of December than there was throughout the month of November. But in saying that, you know, it has decreased down to $252. It was up as high as $304. So again, you can save yourself 50 bucks on this card right now versus where it was sitting previously. And then if you look at the PSA 10s, this card is so notoriously difficult to grade. It goes for thousands and thousands of dollars because of how hard it is to grade. I've sent 3 of these off and they all end up coming back nines. So if that says anything to you, I feel like this has a very low gem rate. And look, to be honest, if you look at sushi grade, it's actually going to tell you what the gem rate of this Magikarp is. I'd be curious to see what it is, but I'll let you guys look that up for yourself. Next up is the Pikachu, the booty hole Pikachu, down 10% at $289 right now. This one, again, I'm not a fan of this. I say this all the time, and people that watch my channel for a long time, I don't like the rainbow border cards that much. And I'm really disappointed that the new Pikachu that's in Mega Dream has a rainbow border. I think it would have looked much nicer with a silver border, but hey, who am I to judge? Pokemon's going to do what Pokemon's going to do. This is still a really cool artwork on the card. I'm just not a fan of the actual border itself. Pikachu and a PSA 10 going for like $860, $925, $930, $1,200, $1,000. So right around $1,000, give or take 50 bucks, depending on the deal you get, the seller, and when you buy it. But again, $1,000 card for me. This isn't where I would park $1,000 in this Pikachu. I think there are other places to do it. A little bit more on the affordable side. So actually, this one is slightly cheaper than the Charizard we looked at just before. So I apologize for that. The Squirtle from Stellar Crown, $69.80 right now. It is down 7% in the last 3 months. So not a huge drop off, but still a very affordable card. And in a PSA 10, it's only around 245, 230, 220, 270. So around about the 240, 250 mark for this one is a pretty safe bet. And I think that this card is just a classic. I love the way that the artwork lines up with the Bulbasaur from Stellar Crown and the Obsidian Flames Charmander as well. I think these artworks connecting is going to be really cool for the long run. Even though this is a super cheap card right now, I think once Stellar Crown goes out of rotation and way less people are able to find it, I think these cards are actually going to pop off because we don't have like some crazy cool full art Bulbasaur and Squirtle cards. We do in 151, but I would argue that the Stellar Crown ones are better. And you can fight me on that in the comments. but I stand by it. I think the Stellar Crown ones are better. Speaking of 151, though, we had to put the big boy Charizard in here from 151. He is down just under 20% right now, slipping to $236, which is really interesting. It was as high as 307 at one point. So it's basically 70 bucks below where it was in the middle of September. So that's a pretty good drop off. And I think some people would be pretty happy to buy that right now. And if you're looking at a PSA 10, you can catch one for about $900 to $1,000, depending again on the bids, the day, the auction, all kinds of things like that. But if you bank yourself on around about $1,000, I think you're going to be safe to pick up this Charizard. So they're the cards that we're talking about today. I hope you guys enjoyed this list. I know it was a quick one. I will be back with another vendor POV later in the week. So don't worry, there is more content coming. But with that, I'm going to leave you here. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.